Hey everybody, it is Friday, November 22nd. Welcome to Coffee in the Studio. It's not in the studio today, you can see. I'm actually in my office because I'm working on digital prints, which means I'm working in the studios here at Wheaton College. My coffee this morning, though, I am drinking out of this lovely Carl Borgson mug. I'll give you a close-up. You can see this lovely amber and black, and then the brown in the middle. And there's a little spot of red right there, which really, I like that blush a lot. Carl is on Instagram at Carl Borgson, so I'll include a link in the comment section. Carl, one of the things I like about Carl is, like me, he makes a lot of smaller mugs, and a lot of people love to buy bigger mugs, but I actually prefer drinking out of smaller mugs. Coffee stays warmer longer, and coffee doesn't get cold because you drink it, and also you get to take more coffee breaks. So win-win. Okay, let me have a coffee. All right, I'll set that down. And yeah, so let me show you again some things I'm working on. Today is a big day for me because I'm releasing some prints on Instagram, which I'll be doing later this afternoon, hopefully just after lunch, if I can get everything together in time. But I've been talking about these prints for a while. I maybe have even shown you a little bit, but I'll show you kind of what it looks like. This is one of the prints I'll be releasing, and this is called Symbiosis. This is etched in wood, and this is 8 inches by 8 inches. This is an edition of 15, and a lot of these have sold already, so I'm really excited about that. And then the digital prints, this is finally showing an actual print, what it looks like. So you can see this is considerably bigger. The print itself is 11 by 17 or 11 by 14, and the matting, it comes just like this, matted 16 by 20 and ready to put into a frame. The print is actually everything's related to bees. So you can see the bees and this really old beehive idea that I pulled out of an old over 100-year-old Encyclopedia Britannica. So these prints use a lot of etchings that are from the Encyclopedia Britannica on beekeeping and bees and anatomy and different topics that I'm sort of layering on top of each other. This print is called Load Bearing, and again, I'll be releasing this today. The super cool thing about these prints is that everything is archival except that the last layer, which in this case is the bees, is made out of a soy-based ink, and so that ink will slowly fade over time, which again sort of talks about environmental impact and bees and our relationship to bees and all that sort of thing. So they won't totally fade away, and it will take a really long time. And depending on how you care for the print, you can actually make the bees not fade. So if you don't subject this print to direct sunlight, and if you say get UV coated glass in a frame, it'll preserve the print even longer. So you can choose to preserve the bees, or you can choose to have the bees fade. It's up to you. So all right, anyway, that's my ad for today. These will be up later today, and then you'll be able to see them on my Instagram account and at my website, davidjphooker.com. So today, I was trying to think about what to do today, and I realized that we are the next time I'll be doing this will be after Thanksgiving. So I thought I would introduce you to a concept that I teach my students called Thankful Thursdays. So one of the difficult things about being an artist or trying to do artistic practice is there's a lot of rejection that you have to face. So just sending out, you can imagine it's a little bit like, if you haven't done this as an artist, it's a little bit like looking for a job all the time. So every time you want to try to get into a gallery, you're oftentimes sending out sort of your resume or an exhibition proposal to galleries and museums, or you're trying to connect with collectors, or whatever it is you're trying to do. A lot of that message oftentimes is ignored, or you might get a rejection letter, a polite rejection letter, or a not polite rejection letter. I've seen both. Um, so it's very difficult. It can be very wearing to constantly be facing all the no's it takes to get to a yes. So what I propose to my students, and what I would propose for you today, is also to, instead of always sending out things that might get in terms of thinking about things like, oh, I hope this works, or I'm worried that it works, or I'm scared about it not working or something, sort of flipping it around, and instead of focusing on the negatives, find a way to focus on the positives. So I have my students make a list of 3 things. So one is people who make a list of people, particularly artists, that have really inspired you. They can be really important artists, or they can be somebody who is in the studio next door, or with students, it could be another student. Make a list of people who you can inspire. Now, when you are younger, that might be siblings. It might be that you have done something to mentor a younger student, or to connect with a sports team or something. Doesn't really matter where it is. Just begin to write down those names as well. These are running lists, by the way. So you start the list, and then you just keep adding to it. So and then the third is charity. So is there a charity or a cause that you feel very strongly about that you would like to connect to? And my preference is, I tell my students, my preference is that you find something that's local if you can. So it might be that there's a big issue, but there's a local way to do it. So I'll give you some examples. For me, I have written letters or emails. So the thankfulness is that you then you could pick 2, and you connect every Thursday. You just send an email or a postcard or whatever. So I have sent messages to artists that I have sort of found just scanning the internet or Instagram, and going like, oh, I really like this person's work. And then on a Thursday, I'll write that person's name down. I'll go back and I'll look at it, and I'll send them a note saying, hey, just a quick note to say, kudos, I really like your work. Keep going. It's really amazing. And that's it. I've sent letters to like Paul Simon. So, a musician who's super famous, who's never going to respond to me, but whose music I listen to a lot in the studio, and I just sent him a note, hey, love your music. It's been really inspirational to me when I work in the studio. I listen to it all the time. Thanks. Keep rocking it. So something really short. For students, oftentimes I send them a letter of encouragement. Former students. Now I've done this a long time, so I have a kind of a long list of former students. And for charity, so I work with, once a year I have a sale, which is actually coming up next Black Friday, so I guess the ad continues, with the Northern Illinois Food Bank. So that is working on hunger and food issues right here in the community. And of course that's a much bigger global issue, but I'm choosing a small group to work with. And so I have a sale, and I give part of the proceeds to them every year. So something from each list. Every Thursday, pick 2 and send a letter to them. Now, it may be that the charity is something that you try to connect with once a year, or however you want to do it, or you might want to send them a note too. there is, one of the ways to think about this is that it can be a strategy to network and build community, which it totally can. But I encourage you not to necessarily think about it that way. Think about it less in terms of what other people can give to you, but what you have to offer other people. And just doing that little thing once a week can really begin to transform the way you think about your artistic practice and what you're doing and what impact you have in the world. So it's a way of making connections, of feeling a little bit like you have something to offer instead of you're always asking for something. You can actually give something. And anyway, it just sort of can really help your attitude. So that's it for this week. Keep on doing what you're doing out there, and thanks for watching. And if you have any questions, or if there's anything in particular you'd like to have me talk about in the future, just leave it in the comments below. Thanks. See ya. Bye.